Hi friends, today I wanted to show you my Christmas dinner menu. Now, Christmas can be a bit of a stressful time of year if you're dealing with food allergies, if you're on a tight budget, if you have different dietary requirements. You just might be thinking, what on earth can I make that everybody is still going to enjoy? So I've put together this menu that is really tasty, very easy to make. It's low budget, it comes in at under €40 for 8 people, and that's 3 courses, and there will probably be leftovers too. And it is also completely allergy friendly, so no dairy, no gluten. It's low carb, so it fits in with my boys' GAPS diet, and it just tastes really good, and all of the flavors go really well together. So I'm going to run you through this menu today and show you how to make it. It's very easy, you'll see. You can make it ahead of time. In fact, everything can be made the day before except for maybe the butternut squash, but we'll get into that later. And it's just really easy to have something that's already ready. You just need to heat up on the day. So when you've got your friends and family over, you can just enjoy being with them on Christmas Day. First thing I'm going to be making today is creamy white bean soup with roasted garlic and bacon. And as with every single recipe in this video, you can get them over on the blog, and I will link everything in the description box below. I've even done a roundup post which describes each dish. It gives you a full shopping list, complete breakdown of cost and prices, so that's based for me here near Paris in France, and it also has a cooking schedule if you're going to be making it the day of. So you can download all of that on my blog candleinthekitchen.com. Just for sake of clarity, I'm going to be showing you each recipe separately on this video, even though I was actually cooking them all at the same time. So we're starting with this creamy white bean soup with roasted garlic and bacon. And for that, I roasted the garlic. I cut 2 heads of garlic in half, drizzled them with olive oil, sprinkled a bit of salt on there, and then I cooked them in aluminium foil in the oven at 180, 200 degrees Celsius for about an hour. And they do need to be really nice and soft. That's how you know that they're done. And while they were cooking, I started to prepare the soup. So I fried some onion, and then I added the white beans, some stock, that's homemade broth that I'd made, some salt, a sprig of rosemary, and I put that all in the Instant Pot, and that's going to cook for 30 minutes. Again, while that's cooking, I'm now making the bacon. So I've just frying this bacon. I didn't add any extra fat. There's usually plenty of fat on the bacon. These are what we call lardons here in France, so bacon bits, but you can cook normal bacon rashers and cut them up afterwards if you prefer. So the garlic is done now. It's nice and soft. And I'm going to spoon this white bean and stock mixture into the blender. So I'm taking out the rosemary because we don't want any of that hard herb in there. And I waited for the soup to cool down a little bit because you don't want to put boiling hot liquid into this blender. So I ladled it all into the blender, and then I'm going to just squeeze the cloves of garlic into the soup before I blend it up together. Now, don't make my mistake. Make sure that your blender is properly closed before you turn it on, because mine spurted everywhere, as you can see. Anyway, I cleared it up afterwards. It was fine. So you blend it until it's perfectly smooth, and that's how you get a delicious creamy soup without adding any dairy at all. And you serve that with the bacon bits sprinkled on top. Now we're on to the Christmas chicken tagine with prunes and apricots. So to start this dish, you need to fry the chicken legs, and these were pretty big, so I could only fit in 2 or maybe 3 into my big pan at once. You need to make sure that you fry them in small batches so that you can get a nice crisp skin on them. So when all of the chicken is done, I'm going to add the onions to the pot. Now you do need to remove some of the oil because the chicken is very fatty and it gives out a lot of grease. So before, I didn't do it straight away, but I did remove the oil afterwards. But before you add the onions, remove some of the oil if you think there's too much in there. And you fry the onions until they're soft but not brown. Then you add the spices. So I've got ras el hanout spice, which is a spice that they use for tagines in Morocco, and I'm adding some cinnamon to that too. And I'm just going to let that fry with the onions for 1 minute. This is also the point where you need to add the garlic. To that onion and spice mix, I'm going to add the tomatoes, and then I'm going to let these tomatoes cook down until it's a very thick, syrupy consistency. Now that took 10 minutes to get to this consistency, and as you can see we have a really nice rich base for our sauce. And now I'm adding some more bone broth. Now I'm going to add the dried fruit. So there are 12 prunes and 12 apricots going in here, and I'm just going to bring that all to the boil before I put it in an oven-proof dish that's large enough to hold all of the chicken. And then I'm going to place the chicken on the top and bake it in the oven for about 45 minutes. So I cook it for 30 minutes covered with aluminium foil and 15 minutes uncovered, just so that the chicken can get nice and crispy. Now, since we're trying to keep things low carb, because my 2 younger boys are on the GAPS diet at the moment, I decided to accompany this dish with some butternut squash that I'm going to cut into cubes, drizzle with olive oil, sprinkle with salt, and roast in the oven for about 30 minutes. What's really good about doing it this way is you can roast the butternut squash at the same time as the chicken is cooking. It cooks at the same temperature. The taste goes really well. The texture goes really well. It was just a really good pairing. Now, you can use couscous as an accompaniment instead. It's cheaper, but it does contain gluten, so it's not suitable for everyone. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you do want to serve this dish with butternut squash, it is best to cook the squash the day that you are going to be serving it. So actually on Christmas Day, if it's for your Christmas menu. I just think that it's a lot tastier that way rather than heating it up. The chicken is even better when it's heated up, but the butternut squash, I would recommend eating it the day that you make it. I'm on to making the raspberry sorbet. So I've defrosted some frozen raspberries, I'm adding some honey, and then I'm going to squeeze in the juice of 1 orange and 1 lemon, and I'm going to add a bit of cinnamon for a Christmassy twist. That all gets blended up together, and then I'm going to sieve it and press it through a sieve with a silicone spatula so that I don't have any of the seeds or bits or anything that's not a nice texture in the sorbet. This takes a little bit of time. It's easy to do, but it does take a little bit of time, which is why it's a really good idea to get this sorbet made the day before. So even if you're eating in the evening and you think you're going to have time for the sorbet to set before you eat, if you make it in the morning, it just takes a bit of time. So making it the day before takes away that stress. You don't want to be doing this on Christmas morning. I like to serve this sorbet in star shapes with my star silicone mold, and in fact my boys now call it star sorbet, which is really cute. It just looks so attractive. It's a perfect dessert for Christmas, and I hope you'll give it a go. Thank you for following along with me today as I made my budget Christmas menu. I hope I gave you some ideas, and I hope it encouraged you that even if you're facing different dietary restrictions or a low budget this Christmas, you can still make something that's absolutely delicious and that everybody will enjoy and that is really, really special. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment and hit subscribe. I make videos on homemade food from scratch, allergy-friendly meal ideas and lots of sourdough. Happy Christmas everyone. Bye!